People tell us every week that our information has helped save their life. If you agree that this is helpful information, please like, share, and most of all, subscribe, because nothing makes a channel like subscriptions.
So let's talk about what actually does. It's lifestyle changes. And you know what? This is the season of the year. We start seeing more patients. We get busier because people say, you know what? I'm gonna finally make those changes. My doc's been telling me to lose weight. My doc's been telling me this. I know I need to lose weight. I don't need my doc to tell me that. But that can be difficult, right? By March, we tend to start slowing down again because people are off to the next thing and they've acknowledged may not make it. That is changing dramatically. In terms of folks watching this channel, major improvements in success rates for weight loss, and now even recent. Couple of things. Number one, lifestyle changes. If I've heard it once, I've heard it hundreds of times now, where somebody comes to me and they've already lost 30 pounds and I ask them, how did you do it? The answer was, well, first of all, I cut my carbs. And when I did that, something funny happened. I wasn't as hungry anymore. Well, you know what happened? They became fat adapted, and there was little to no transition from burning the fuel that was in their gut to burning the fuel that was on their hips. That's what happens when you get fat adapted. A lot of people tell me, oh, I'm down to 1 meal a day. Well, again, you don't do 1 meal a day or significant decrease in your eating window and still not get fat adapted. So you last about a day and a half on carbs stored in your liver. And then you start getting to where the mechanisms, the proteins that you normally use to burn fat kick back into gear. Now, if you've been living on carbs 4 times a day for 20 or 30 years, you don't have those proteins active, and it's going to take you a few months. And guess what? You're going to go through that keto flu, and that's just going to happen. But that's going to last a few weeks to a couple of months to fully replenish your body with the proteins necessary to run a fat-adapted metabolism, to learn how to burn fat. But Rome was not accomplished in a day. You can try to accomplish it in a 1-week starvation style fasting. A lot of people accomplish that. And if you've got a time period, you've got some time off, you want to do it that way, and you'd rather just crash through the glass. A lot of people do it that way very successfully. If you look at fasting 1 meal a day, or what most people call intermittent fasting with 2 meals a day, that helps immensely. But then when you start getting into techniques for weight loss, successful techniques, as I said, most people tell me they started by decreasing their carbs, then they went into intermittent fasting, and most folks are successful with just that. I'm a big fan of extended fasting, prolonged fasting, 24 hours, 36 hours or more. And I just don't get a whole lot of takers on that. There are huge changes in opportunities for weight loss in terms of medications now. And it comes in the forms of medications for diabetes. It's no surprise when you do what I do for a living and work with people regarding cardiovascular risk, you realize by far the number one problem on a day-to-day basis. You're going to think I'm going to say fat, right? No, the number one problem is aging. Number 2, though, is body fat. You can't do anything about changing your age, your chronological age, but you can do something about body fat. And guess what? That's been a challenge forever, and it's becoming easier. You know, it's interesting. Pop quiz. Does anybody know how and where the GLP-1s were discovered? It was a fellow looking at different proteins. That was what he did for a living. And he happened to look at the proteins in Gila monster saliva, Gila monster spit, and he found some of the original GLP-1s. Does anybody know what the GLP-1s are? They are hormones. They're hormones that I first heard about when I was in medical school, and I never heard about again until the past few years when the GLP-1s came out. You see, believe it or not, the intestines make hormones. And those hormones, glucagon-like peptide. And that's what GLP-1 stands for, glucagon-like peptide. What these hormones do is they say, okay, we're the intestines, we're working down here, so they tell the stomach to not dump anymore, to close off. In addition, they say to the pancreas, we're getting ready to dump food, glucose, and other things into the bloodstreams. Better be ready with more insulin. So you get stimulation of the pancreas to create insulin, and you get stimulation of the stomach to stop dumping food into the intestines. And that's what glucagon does. Well, what we have found is there's nothing like the GLP-1s to help people lose weight. Huge improvements in opportunities here. Yes, as I said before, my original activity is helping individuals in this world save themselves from diabetes. But by far and away, the number one reversible risk factor for diabetes is body fat. Used to think that body fat was an inert energy storage tissue, and then we found out anything but true. I did a series on a lecture titled The Secret Life of Fat Cells. It won awards for basically demonstrating that fat cells are not inert energy storage tissue. Fat cells are endocrine tissue, and they drive this insulin resistance more than anything else. It makes sense. If you've got a whole lot of fat in your cell, insulin helps you put more fat in that cell. So there are a couple of reasons why it makes sense, but the bottom line is, what can we do about it? Well, there's been a huge change. Anti-diabetic drugs called GLP-1s are saving lives like crazy. They've been out almost a decade now. In fact, one of them's going to be losing its patent next year, I believe, maybe later this year. And they're making a big difference. In fact, as I said before, it's no surprise to somebody that does what I do for a living that the number one, by far the best diabetes drug we've ever had is also by far the best diet drug we've ever had. So guess what? It's been discovered by rich people, and you can't get it now. Get in a prescription for Ozempic and take it to your local pharmacy and see the reaction that you'll get. I've even covered this. I've had to do several videos showing what we do in order to deal with the Ozempic shortage, because everybody from Elon Musk to bunches and bunches of wealthy people are taking Ozempic. Why wealthy people? Because it costs about $1,000 a month. A lot of people that I work with are on Medicare, and I have not seen Medicare push back on it. I've usually been able to get Ozempic as well as other GLP-1s through Medicare. So again, that's a little bit of a diatribe on what we do, how we do it, and what makes a difference in life. We're going to talk about lifestyle today. And let me tell you, I've had countless people come to me on these drugs, GLP-1s, that had not lost a pound. In fact, had even gained some weight. So one of the things that you need to remember is that yes, although we are improving each year our ability as humans to make medications that help people, there's still nothing like lifestyle. Lifestyle is the king. I guess it will always be the king. And isn't that sort of like life itself? The best things in life are free, but not easy.